Om Shanti. Welcome to today's episode of Masters of Change. We can either accept change or resist change. When we resist change, it usually comes out of fear and there is no productivity involved then, and there is no growth. When we accept change, it comes with many advantages. We have a sense of balance, we're not easily overwhelmed, and we become more real. To talk about his experiences and to take us through that journey, today we have with us Brother Michel from Paris. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. Yes.
It is our pleasure. And why don't we start with your journey, how it all started, and where are you from? How did you come into spirituality?
Yeah. Okay, so, if you were asking me when I was 13 years old if I will have been one day a spiritual person, I will never say yes, not at all. When I was young, I watched TV and I play football. But life has its own destiny, and also because the need of the self, So when I was 14 years old, I started to reduce the watching TV and instead to read more books, So I was more like on myself. Then 1 year later, because I was doing a lot of sport and running and football and swimming, then and with my brothers, we say, well, if we reduce meat, we'll be lighter and stronger, for the sport.
Your brother said that.
Yeah. So then from French people eating maybe twice a day meat, I eat maybe 3 times a week, So a big difference, big change, So all of that has created, as you speak about change, a big change in me. And also the thing is, obviously when you change, life change, you don't meet the same people, you don't have the same type of thinking, and being vegetarian obviously change your perception, your way of thinking, your way of feeling, and I meet my own best friend at that time, who was also almost 80-90% vegetarian. His father was a psychanalyst, and obviously he has a lot of insight about the self. And by chance also the father has a flat where we can live together. So at 18 years old, I start to be totally independent from my parents, and that also make a big change because when you move away from your family, you can really start to express what is really inside. Because when you live with people, you are influenced by who they are, their vibrations, their thoughts, their way of life, and they are there as well. So that has been a big change for me. And when I was 18 years old, I started to work. And, when you work, there is a big difference in between student life and working life. Student life, you go to school, you sit down and you listen. Okay, you just take, globally speaking, Yeah. When you work, you say, oh my God, I have to give my energy, for the job, to earn your, as we say, life, money, But I say, to myself, is this will be my life? Just working, earning money and consuming my life finally, And I say, where I will be in all of that, So I say to myself, what do I really love, And 2 things came at that time is reading and writing. So, and the second question which came say, but where I can find the time to read and write? Yeah. And I say, well, before job. So I wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, just by myself, no one tell me, And for 2 hours I was reading from 5 to 7, some novels, some Shakespeare, whatever it is. And from 7 to 8 I was writing, and then I went to job. I feel totally concentrated, no tiredness, When I come back to job, 6 p.m., I eat a little, and I was quite a vegetarian as well. And I was reading from 7 to 10. And so that was my life for 1 year. Then I separate from my friends, so then I start to live alone. And then I stopped to read and write, but I start to think deeply.
That reading and writing stopped?
I feel that it was no more necessary for me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah. Because when I was coming back from work, at 6 p.m., I just have some little food, and at 7 o'clock I lay down, and I just think, but deeply, with my intellect, not just with my mind, with my intellect.
What did you used to think? Like what?
I don't even remember, but try to understand life. I cannot even remember, but I know that I was using my intellect.
Right.
And for example, I remember one specific moment. I take a book, It was a French philosopher, Jean-Paul Sartre. And I start to read, maybe it's 3 lines. I close the book and I meditate. I mean, I didn't know meditation, but I start to think for 5 hours because of that. And so I knew that reading book was, I'm sorry, waste of time. I knew that, for me, it was thinking, which was the most important,
Right.
So at that time, I'd say to myself, because I was 19 years old, and obviously, you may look for girls, but I said to myself, I will never have a physical relationship with a girl unless I have a mental relationship with her. Because for me, the mental was the most important, And, well, it never happens. So then, then the thing is, to my friend before, one time I said to my friend, I will travel, I will go to Brazil, just like that. I didn't even know why I say that, But then because I says so, and now retroactively, I asked myself, but why I say I will travel and why I did it, because then I travel, I went to Canada. And so there is some reason behind it is first, my ego. Secondly, because, we were in 75. And then in the 70s, it was a lot of hippies traveling around the world. So it was the kind of, not fashion, but it was a movement, And I don't say that many did it, but it was a movement of some people, traveling around the world. So that was also some influence to some extent.
Yeah.
Then I say also retroactively, God touched my intellect also because to do it, because I traveled to, my first trip of 1 year was Canada, USA, Mexico, and Guatemala. And at school, I tried to learn intensively English and Spanish, but it was impossible to learn and speak. Okay. But when I reached USA, I took some course in the evening, and I don't even know how it happens, but I start to speak English. And when I went to Mexico, as soon as I put my feet in Mexico, I speak Spanish. Wow. And now, because I am a yogi, and I'm traveling around the world, for sharing some spiritual knowledge. I've been to Latin America, Spanish country, so I can deliver a lecture in Spanish. And obviously, all around the world, and people speak English, so then I can speak English and deliver, some lecture in English. So that was the reason why I'm traveling, So then I did it. Then I came after 1 year of traveling, and when you travel, also one thing is traveling, there is a slogan, I'm sure in universal slogan, which say, traveling is forming the youth. Traveling is formatting your mind or is opening your mind. And really it did it for me in many aspects. First of all, because when I went to US, I was asking US people, what do you know about France? Hardly they can say something about it at that time. At that time, they just said General de Gaulle, which the military, which was during the Second World War, which was helping France to liberate France from whatever the Second World War. Yeah. So, and so that was a shock for me because for me, brought up as a French people in Paris, in the capital, being influenced by France, great country. For me, there was the greatness of France, almost only France, more or less, And then when people said they don't know almost nothing about France, then I understand that France was only one aspect in life. And then I start to become more detached and less French in some way, you know, and to be more open for whatever, any other things, you know, but not being just, in France, we say Franco-French, you know, just being totally French.
Yeah.
So then there was, I will say there is a deconditioning.
You started detaching from your identity as
a French person, totally. Yeah. You know, you are, because when you are brought up in a country, you are so much conditioned by your country, you know, and the nationalisms, the patriotisms, you can say like that, or the French identity, or the national identity, you know, which obviously create barriers, you know, and antagonisms with other country or people of the world, you know, like that. So, yeah. So, and the second aspect by traveling also was something like understand one value which is very much universal, which we don't speak so much, in fact, in value, you know, is hospitality. Yeah. I can assure you that anyway, you are Indian, and in India you say a guest is a god at home, you know. Yeah. But you know, you can say in every country of the world, when you are a stranger, a foreigner, and you need something, not in the big city, but in the countryside, mainly, people will always, you know, help you in as much as possible.
Yeah, true.
And so the hospitality has been wonderful for me, and the generosity as well. Yeah. And the thing is, when you experience from people a value, then it's become part of you, and then you can express those value. As long, no, you can be teaching by value, but as long as you don't experience it by people, humanity, or God, you know, then you hardly be able to express it, you know. But then when you have the experience of it, then it's, you know that you have to give it because you receive it, you know. So right. Like that, yeah.
Very interesting, very interesting. And when you were traveling, were you exposed to Raj Yoga meditation, or did it come late in your life?
Yeah, the thing is, as I said to you, you know, when before traveling, I was very much in my mind and intellect. When I was traveling, it was more difficult, obviously, because you haven't a regular life. When you travel, you say, where I will sleep tonight, what I will eat, where to go, you know. I was hitchhiking mainly, you know. You know, so obviously many practical questions, which doesn't allow you to have a very intellectual life. But I try to maintain mind life, you know, means to remain in my mind, you know. So that not too much in the consumering, in the material level, you know. So I just keep on traveling like that, and I find some job, and then after 1 year of traveling, you know, I came back to Paris, and it was in July 76.
How old were you back then?
I was 20 years old when because I was born in 56. Yeah. So, but that gave me a lot of maturity, in fact, traveling. I mean, I can share you one specific experience.
Sure.
You know, because at some point I meet one US guys, and we traveled together. But this guy was 100% vegetarian, and he was living in the forest in US. So together we travel, you know, in a Belize, you know, it's a country where there was at that time not so much car and bus and things like that, and we have only 3 days visa. So after 3 days we were illegal in this country. So the only way to cross the country, to move away from the country, was to cross the tropical forest. Oh. And for me, you know, it was an initiation total. But he was very confident because he knew that. But for 2 days, we crossed the tropical forest, and I was holding his t-shirt, you know, in the night time, you know, to make sure. Yeah. But for me, from that time, you know, for me, I love nature, and I love to go into the nature. So it changed myself, because for me, I will tell you one thing is, being born in Paris, brought up in Paris, as long, if, you know, in the city you have some greenery, is no more a city. For me, a city where you go and go and go, and there is street and shop and building, you know, and then I would say this is a city, you know. So, but for me, going to traveling, you know, and going through this initiation, then I say, I love nature and, I enjoy nature,
Yeah.
So like that. So then, I came back to Paris, after all of this 1 year of traveling. And when I reached Paris, I was 20 years old. And obviously you always think about what's next, my future, But I did not have any plan, really. And, but so then, to do something, you have to ask a question to have an answer, So I say, what to do? And I say, and then the second question was, but what I know to do? The only answer which I can find is,
travel.
No, I know to travel. So then my mother was born in Poland, and my grandmother was living in France. But she has still some connection with her family in Poland. So there was her brother living in Poland in a small village. So I decided to go there. So I went to Poland for 2 months in this village. And I learned Polish in 2 months, because the thing is, I learned English and Spanish so easily. Yeah. I said, oh my God, I can learn language. Before it was so much, stress, trouble. So, but the thing is, I make the effort, at that time, from 9 o'clock to 3 p.m., I just focus on the English book Polish, to learn. And because I was in a small village and some of the family, I meet them, whatever I learn, I tell them,
Oh.
And in 2 months, I learned speaking Polish, And after 2 months, I start to travel in Poland, and I can deal with people and speaking to people, And after 4 months, I decided to move away from Poland, and it looks like I did it, Sometimes, you finish something, and you know that you have to go for something else, in life,
Yeah.
So then I crossed all the communist bloc, I went, but by train very quickly, Republic Czech and Romania and Bulgaria, and I reached Istanbul. And when I was reaching Istanbul, then I tell myself, on my trip, only 2 possibilities, at the time for me, India or Africa. And I say, I will not go to India, because at that time, hippie goes to India for drugs and things like that. I say, I don't want to be assimilated with these people. So I say, okay, Africa.
All right.
So I crossed Turkey, Syria, and then in Syria, I take a boat in Aleppo and go to Egypt. And obviously, in between, always you meet people, they invite you. Obviously, many details, And so I stay in a small village in Egypt, Then they bring me to Cairo in their family again, and then I went down to Aswan. And when you are in Aswan, then you can take a boat for 3 days, 2 nights, and you go to Sudan. So and then you in the Nile, the river Nile. Then from there you take a train and you reach Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. And then to go to South Sudan, you have to take truck, and you just for many days, you just go down South Sudan. And when I was reaching down Sudan, then the only possibility for me as a French was to go to Central Africa, because for the visa and passport, because it was French colony.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the road was not a road. Just a very narrow path where there is no car, no bus, not even motorbike. And it was 45 kilometers in between the place of Sudan to the next small village in Central Africa. Anyway, I was a young sportsman, backpack. And I enjoy to walk anyway. And so I say, okay, get up early in the morning. The only thing I knew, in fact, is make sure you reach before nighttime, because nighttime animals move out. So to make sure not to have a bad meeting with animals, make sure you reach before night. So I reach at 6 o'clock, I start to move, and I reach before night, small village. And as I reached the village, I was looking at people. I went to someone smiling, and I just stay in this place, Then I walk 500 kilometers from small village to small village, in between 25 to 35 kilometers per day. And each evening, I reach a village. I look at people. In language knowledge, we say drishti, like vision. We look at people in the eyes, and drishti is look at to have the vision in the eyes, or darshan, And then as we smile to people at that time, I say, these the people which I will accommodate me for the night. And then each time it happened like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Then after 500 kilometers, I reach one main city of Central Africa. And then a military truck passed my way. They stop and they say, come with us, come with us. No, I want to walk.
Yeah.
But they force me to come in their trucks and they bring me to the capital 500 kilometers away. I didn't ask nothing.
Why did they do that?
Well, because they feel sympathy for me. The thing is, that when I was traveling, I have absolute pure intention. I have absolute positive thinking. I don't have any slight thought of doing something wrong. Yeah. And I was enjoying my trip. And at the time, I believe in the magical of life because in my trip, always hitchhiking, a car stop, people invite me in their place, people tell me new address, people give me, then you can find a job there. I'm many details missing, in my trip, but because I want to make it a bit short. But, when I was in US, at some point, I was hitchhiking at the north of San Francisco. Then a car stop, and a big man in the car, say, stop, and I say good morning to him. And he say bonjour. Bonjour means good morning in French, And I said, well, he recognized me as a French, very strange. So I said good morning. He said bonjour. And so I said bonjour. And he was a French person, and he has a French restaurant. So, and I say, he picked me up in stop, in the car. Then as he say, he has a French restaurant, I start to say, well, maybe he has a job for me. And I said, do you have a job for me? He said, yes. So I was dishwashing, So this man say, okay, no, I go shopping, then I show you my boat, then we come back to the restaurant. I worked 2 weeks in the French restaurant, getting some money. After 2 weeks, he gave me some address in San Francisco again to go back to stay with some people. Come back in the French restaurant, working 1 week, then to get some more money. Then give me some address near Vancouver, where some people accommodate me. Those people give me some address in British Columbia, Canada, Vancouver, to go some works. I worked 2 months in British Columbia for fishing lodge, like cutting wood and filling the boat with gas, petrol, So in the forest, So
basically, you never planned anything. All of these things happened on its own.
Yeah, for me it was, I have to be in movement, Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't have any name. The thing is, when I was in Guatemala, I meet one US guy. He was living in Los Angeles. He gave me his address. So I know I have to go to Los Angeles. I reach his family. I stay 1 week with him. Then he gave me an address in another guy's 1 week. And then I went to they gave me an address in San Francisco, some student. I stayed with them. And then I went and then I met these French guys. And then I had more address and more work, And then I traveled from Vancouver to Montreal, 5,000 kilometers by road. In 5 days, wow. Hitchhiking. Right. No, I was in Vancouver hitchhiking on the road. At some point, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a truck stopped, picked me up, and he went to Calgary, 1,250 kilometers away. In the morning, he waked because he had a cabin. So he said, you can sleep for the night. He's morning, 8 o'clock, he said, wake up, we are in Calgary, you can go. Just like that. 5,000 kilometers, just like that.
Wow. And all this time, did you do your Raj Yoga meditation before or after?
No. Raj Yoga meditation, yes. In fact, in the story is, I never think about being a yogi or meditating. Never. No, nothing. No.
But still you were so positive throughout. You never let the negative thoughts creep in, which is commendable. Yeah,
the thing is, when you start to think by yourself, you understand that freedom starts by deciding by yourself and by being thinking positively. For me, I give many lectures as a yogi on positive thinking, but one of the main idea about positive thinking is you express your freedom.
Yeah.
When you're positive, you are expressing your freedom. If you are negative, it means you are under the control of your something wrong inside or about your people outside. Okay. No? So for me, I say no one should allow me to be negative. That was very clear from young age, in fact, because even when I practiced football for 6 years and I was very good. And when you are, players, you want to win, and to be a winner, you have to be positive.
Correct.
So it was deeply part of me. Yeah. It was my nature,
How did meditation change? Because you were so positive before meditating as well. How did it change your life, spirituality, when you came into spirituality? How did it change you, or any experiences about that?
Yeah, the thing is, when you come to the knowledge of Raj Yoga, you come to understand something much deeper that you may have think about life.
Okay.
And one thing that you start to understand is you have not just one life. You have many lives. Okay. And you have the sanskars, means the memories of all that life, and you have the karma connected with all of that.
Okay.
And so now you understand that you have a new purpose, when you are spiritual. The purpose is to create pure karma for the future and to purify the impure karma of the past. So now when you become a spiritual person, you have 3 dimensions of time. The past, which is your life, which is part of your story, and you have to deal with that story. And you have the future that you have to create by creating your pure karma, which will impact your future. And you have still to be in the present, because the present is the reality. But past is a reality, future is a reality. It's 3 reality which condense in the present. So you have to be in the present with the understanding of the 2 other reality of the past and future. And because of that, you can live your present in a real purposeful way. Right. Because, for example, I meet you, but, my relationship with you is not just now, because you are a soul, and maybe we have been meeting in the past, but as a soul, in a soul level, in different body, and according to the way we relate now, this will create a future relation in our next birth. In the future also, in the year coming, obviously, but also in the next birth as well, according to the karma we create now in between ourselves, So when you understand that, you see life in 3 dimensions, right. And so life becomes more dense and intense.
Right.
So you work in a much more deeper way and in a much more subtle way that you never think it was like that so far.
Correct.
And then things emerge, Then, because the thing is, when when you become, we know in our expression when we become soul conscious, which meant when we become aware of ourselves as a spiritual being, then we understand that we are entering into the unlimited, which means we open ourselves to all our past karma and all our past karmic connection, which means all the karmic account, which means because in the past, the karma which have been done with other human beings or human souls has been positive and negative.
Yeah.
It has been a mixed. And whoever I meet, I know is a soul, globally speaking, but with a mixed karma, positive and negative. Then I have to be, and with some is the negative is more intense, for others the positive is more intense. And but obviously there is a deep philosophy about it. But globally speaking, I will say that, for example, now I finish this life more or less alone, very individualist people. I travel alone, I move alone, and I never create a family. I never have big company with me. But in my past, I was part of a community. Yeah. I have a family. I have many friends, you know, because you have to live with a family of souls, a community. You know, you cannot live without a family of souls and community. So, but we birth after birth, I've been separating myself from all these souls. And when you separate, what is happening? You create different karma and sanskars. And to separate, it means you have opposed sanskars and karma, you know? But then, no, when you become spiritual, you meet again all those souls. You will meet them, for sure, you know?
But in different bodies.
In different bodies, exactly, you know? And according to the way of you meeting, and you recognize also the personality and the sanskars, and according to the recognition of it, you understand which type of sanskars and karma you have with those souls in the past, and which type of story you have with them at some point in the past, you know?
Right.
So then obviously it's, life becomes much more intense, you know, and that is why when I say unlimited, it means no, I'm not dealing with a human being. I'm dealing with a human source, and there is a story in between us with many births and rebirths. Right. And that is the unlimited. Right. And now I have to build with that source the future with many more births and rebirths. And that is the unlimited. It's not you with me in this birth only. That is limited. So as long as I consider myself as a human being, material being, a human body, you can say, and you also as a human body, you know, you can say like that, then it is one birth, it is limited, and then we can handle easily. I mean, say, hello, good morning, you know, how are you? Fine, okay, I'm happy. You know, have a cup of tea with me, and okay, bye-bye, and, you know, and Om Shanti, you know, and things like that.
Which doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, and we can have, I can meet you for 1 hour, being very happy with you, being very positive, and it's finished. But now, I have to build up a new relationship with you because I know that I will meet you, surely, in the year coming and in the next birth. You know? And that is spirituality, it's teaching me that, and I know the reality of it.
Right.
You know? And because, you know the reality by the very deep interaction with the people, because as soon as we are spiritual, the quality of the relationship become very intimate, very deep, very subtle, and we share a level of experience that you never share with people which are limited.
So this is a very interesting point of view that you have shared. So how can we remain soul conscious when we meet the other person? Is there any way? Because we see them as mostly human bodies, right? I mean, they're coming as... we usually tend to see them as human bodies. So is there any way that we can keep this consciousness, like how to experience them as souls?
Yeah. The thing is, first of all, you have the knowledge of the soul. Means I know I am a soul, and I know that you are a soul. And by the way, in a very simple way, the most essential definition of a human being in a spiritual way is a human soul incarnated in a human body. You know, so once you're really clear about it, then you know that the person is a soul in front of you, you know, and then as the conversation, the connection, the relationship is engaged, then you can see the type of sanskars and the type of karma, and also according to the context, you know. For example, I know in the context that we are together, we'll not fight, we'll be smart, nice, you know, and because we are in the context to have good relationship, you know. Yeah. So like this. So and obviously, but anyway, any other context, I have to make sure to be always in a good stage, which means good feeling, good mood, expressing something good. And I can tell you, as my way of dealing with relationship is always sharing something of my personal experience, which has given me benefit. And as soon as I do that, it changed completely the relationship, and then you have soul-to-soul relationship.
But it is easy, like I can, like the conversation we are in, it is easy for us to consider each ourselves as souls. But take an example, if I'm driving, someone bumps into my car, and I come out, and they're shouting, and how to like take them as a soul at that point? Isn't that difficult?
Yeah, the thing is, at that moment, you have to remind yourself that was the destiny of life. It has to be like that. So you have to use the mantra, it is like that. So then stabilize yourself in the fact, not in the emotion or in the angry mood, and then start to find the solution. Means you have to deal now to find the solution, to adjust to the situation, and knowing without being angry, negative, emotional, because when you have the knowledge of the soul, you know that soul is peace, soul is love, soul is purity, soul is pure energy, positive energy. So you have to remain in that mood, no matter what. And
because the how we react is also creating a karma, right? So if I react in a bad way, in future also I might face the repercussions of the way I behave today. Isn't that true?
Absolutely true. And more than anything else, in the moment you react, you are in the experience of that negative reactivity, which is obviously creates trouble, stress, emotion, which destabilizes you, which makes you weak, and which destroy your values and virtue. Yeah. So it has a great negative impact on yourself. Yeah. At that time. Once you know that you have to do as much work as possible to remain in self-control. It's not easy, but you know that you have to do it.
Right.
And this is the beauty of spirituality. We know that many challenges are coming, but I have to win the challenge. And I have to do everything to do to win the challenge. Because all our karmic account will now emerge in front of us in one way or the other. So, but it's a part of the game. If you understand it's a part of the game of life, then let me play the game and let me enjoy the game. So then I don't take it as in a heavy way.
Correct. What do you think is the purpose of life? What according to you is the purpose of life? Why are we put here? Do we need to do something or?
Yeah, I will say in a most simple way, just enjoy your life. But enjoy your life by knowing who you are, by expressing the quality of the soul, by and enjoying your life means do something which is great, which elevate yourself, which allow you to know God, which allow you to take God's quality and have quality relationship with God. Because the thing is, the knowledge of God is telling us that God is the director of the drama, is the main actor, and as much as, and that is my own experience, as much as you speak with God about what you are doing, the plan of your day, then God is making things, preparing for the best for you, so that things move in a very smooth way, and everything becomes much easier and successful for you. So, and that is my practice as a spiritual person. Before to start any activity, I sit in meditation and I relate to God and I say, "Dear God, no, I'm doing that. That is my wish to do like this, like that." And so I have some conversation, very practical conversation about the reality of my life. Then I move into my reality. And then things move perfectly with a lot of magic. Means things move exactly with synchronicity, with magic, with easiness, with much more that things that it can move. Yeah. Then your life becomes very rich.
That was a very deep conversation and very enriching one. And thank you so much for taking out time for us today. And I'm sure I'll take a lot of things from this conversation in my life ahead and going to apply them. And thank you and Om Shanti.
Okay, so Om Shanti, and thanks to allow me to share my experience of life, because it's always very so interesting to share my own experience and to ask question, to like meet emerge again, and again. And it's part of my story. So thanks for asking me all those beautiful questions.
It was our pleasure.
Okay, my pleasure as well.